Hello, everyone. Welcome again to our Meet the Vendor webinar series, where we get to meet some amazing people from all over the world and hear about their software and how it fits into the Atlassian universe and how we're helping teams. And today I've got Maciej. He's sitting in Poland, and he's going to tell us about whiteboards for Jira. And yeah, take it away, Maciej.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks for the intro, and very excited to be here today. Okay, so Mike asked me to introduce Whiteboards to you, which is the brand new product. It's been in development for about 8 to 12 months, but we still, we already on the Atlassian Marketplace, so that's good. And the product is about facilitating work of product managers, project managers, scrum masters, and pretty much any folk who both delivers the product and also discovers the product. So Mike, just double checking, can you see my screen?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, brilliant. So Whiteboard is, if you think about it, it's sort of like a child of the pandemic. So unfortunately, things happened. But as they say, in difficult times, innovation does occur, and I think this is part of that. So when we as a team had to switch to being a fully remote team, we have hit a couple of sort of roadblocks or problems. One being very low engagement of participants in various workshops or any agile ceremonies you run online. And we have seen, okay, maybe this is, and obviously, being product people, we always have an idea for another cool product. So, and we figured, okay, maybe we are onto something. Maybe we should do a bit of research. And in fact, we did some research and spoke to scrum masters, project managers, and these people said that they do struggle with the same thing. So oftentimes when they screen share, like I'm doing now, and when they were screen sharing Jira, Jira on its own is a very complex mechanism. If they screen share it and only one person basically acts upon tickets or moves issues, then the rest of the team is totally disconnected, or they can be disconnected. So we figured, why wouldn't we give everyone a chance to interact with the tickets real time? At the same time, sort of collaboratively, they can manage the tickets, which is the sort of like the part of work that is being done during various ceremonies. And I'm talking things like PI planning, especially that's for larger teams, like SAFe, road mapping, prioritization, user story mapping, road mapping. I mean, the list is very long of various ceremonies or various processes that project managers or product managers in small and large organizations do need to run. And up until now, they had very specialized tools. So they would go to one tool to run a roadmap. They would go to yet another tool to do retrospective, to another tool to do user story mapping. So first, there was this disconnect between tools. Secondly, what we've noticed was, and that's also part of the research, there was disconnect between high-level vision, so what the management wants to achieve within a certain time, and sort of low-level delivery. Yeah, so people sort of sitting in the trenches, writing code, they did not see what was coming up within the next months or even years, and vice versa. So people on the top did not have really visibility what was happening in the trenches. And also there was disconnect sort of horizontally between teams who were doing product discovery, as in customer research, finding out where the pain points are, what customer needs are, and delivery. So both sort of high level, low level disconnect and discovery, delivery disconnect. And we figured, maybe we onto something, maybe this whiteboard could somehow help. So what we have done, we have created a whiteboard inside of Jira. So as you can see here, I am inside Jira. Got some apps here. One of them is whiteboards. And you probably would not be surprised that we do, and again, like whiteboards is probably not super new category, as in it existed before the pandemic, but it was a pretty edgy sort of thing used for education, used for running design sprints, used for kind of like generic collaboration. But and so we have basically taken the model. We have taken the model of generic whiteboarding and copied that model and applied it to some specific, and applied it to very specific use cases for project and IT product people. So for example, like I said before, SAFe, retrospective, estimation, product roadmap, user story mapping, etc., etc. So let's just take one of them. So you have backlog refinement, voting, etc., etc. So the list goes long, and we keep working on adding these new templates on the ongoing basis. So let's just take, for example, magic estimation. So as I said before, because we live inside Jira, we have better access to the Jira API, and we pretty much act upon the tickets as soon as user changes something. So let's say we want to use the Fibonacci method. We are connected to a particular Jira board. Let's take these tickets for estimation. Okay, and I'm showing that we are on the whiteboard. But actually, maybe before I show you the sort of the sexy stuff with Jira, let me just show you some basic items. So like on a regular whiteboard, you could create a sticky note and say something like, as a user, I want to do something, right? Okay, and you can obviously duplicate the things. You can create text. You can draw diagrams. So oftentimes diagrams are pretty important to explain something, to document something. So you can do connectors, arrows, and whatnot. So you can pretty much create the whole sort of UML model of something, or draw a user journey, or some sort of architecture diagram of a system, and then even embed it inside of Confluence, for example. But the stuff that I'm showing you now is generic whiteboarding, like sticky notes, arrows, maybe drawing things, so things like that.
Well, even these simple things, like I love whiteboards, always have, because there's I'm a visual learner, and I guess to some extent to be able to communicate that way as well. I can draw a diagram and I can explain things to you, and being even able to use the most basic functions of a whiteboard. Can you imagine having 10 of your teammates trying to collaborate around a physical whiteboard simultaneously?
That's right. That's exactly right. And not only that, I mean, we have seen bigger teams. We have seen one customer of ours in Italy, doesn't matter where they are, but these guys run like heavy PI planning, 80 people strong. And all of these folks, I can actually show you a quick preview. All of these folks would sit on a single whiteboard. So they are divided into teams. Like, it's just an example here, but it's like a Wolves team, Bears team, Unicorns team, and each team would sort of work in their own sort of subsection of the board, not interfering with each other, but essentially they are on the same board. So that's one thing, and another benefit of this is that the level of engagement is much higher if you see many cursors at the same time. And if I ask you, Mike, something, you can can not only explain to me what you would want to do with that diagram, but you can yourself change a box from here to there, or explain something visually. So it's almost like we were sitting in the same room, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely, that engagement is there. Other thing you can do, you can upload files, PDFs. So we have seen teams, and that's actually also interesting, a trend these days with collaboration tools, is that teams more and more often rely on whiteboards as like a repository for all project-related information and communication tools. So, for example, they would upload PDFs, they would upload images, like I said, diagrams. What we are also seeing is that whiteboards, in a way, are chipping in to the market of tools like decks or PowerPoints, because people nowadays would just go to the presentation mode and just present to the management or present to other stakeholders or to their team members as if they would on the Google Deck or Google presentation or Microsoft PowerPoint. So in a way, this is a combination of these two worlds. And just to finish with basic whiteboarding, you can also do things like, I don't know, you can create, you can paste media here. You can paste a YouTube video, like I said, images. Oh, there it took a while to load. But yeah, so because it's a GIF, so it waits a little bit longer. But you can also embed entire websites into here. So we can think of the use case of running, I don't know, maybe a user story mapping, and you want to embed a prototype from Figma onto the whiteboard and click through the prototype without leaving the whiteboard, right? So, or embed and pretty much any internet.
Well, when you've got an iframe, you can put whatever you want, basically, and
exactly right.
That's incredibly powerful. And again, it's just so interesting bringing all that information together so the team can be on the same page or the same whiteboard. And in our modern digital world, with all our digital sources, so you can iframe your Google Analytics, for example, so your sales and marketing team, when they're doing their design, can actually look at the reports that they want to affect, put it into the plan. That's incredible.
That's right. That's right. Okay, so that's as far as basic whiteboarding goes. Maybe one more thing that I forgot to add is that when teams are working on individual ideas or tickets or determine priorities, they can, of course, vote. So you have the voting capabilities. So you can start voting, can give one vote here or a couple of votes. And I mean, but again, as I'm saying, this is pretty basic whiteboarding feature, so I'm not really that much excited about voting.
It's been a long time since I've been in a room where, excuse me, we had a whiteboard and there was concepts and everyone had to go up and give their little tick. So
tick or place a dot. That's right.
Yeah.
And always the highest person in the room voting for something would be a nod for you, like, okay, maybe I should vote for the same thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But here the voting is anonymous, so you don't feel that peer pressure of having to vote on something, for example, right? So that's also a nice thing. Okay, so but let's for a second think about a more specific use case related to our world of IT project management. So let's say I got a list of bugs in the Excel format. I can go here, I can paste it just from Excel like I did now. Let's just change the color of these cards. Okay, so it's a list of tickets, of bugs, for example, and with a single click, I can go and convert them to bugs. Like I go bug, create. And because we are inside Jira, we just create. By mistake, I have created. I'm basically going one by one, but I might as well. I might as well just with a single click convert all of them to Jira tickets sort of simultaneously without having to click create. Okay, so let's cancel this one. Okay. All right, let's finish. And so we have these tickets now on the whiteboard. So that's one way of creating the ticket. You can also bring in existing tickets from your backlog, from your current sprint. So you just open your board here on the right, and you can, for example, bring in the epic or bring in the user story from your existing tickets. You can also paste a link to the issue, and the system would automatically recognize it as a Jira link and create a visual representation in the form of this card. Another cool thing that we do. Oh, okay. One more thing is we can create an issue from scratch. So like that, and we get a native Jira window, and we can say, you know, we can just type anything and create, and this ticket is being created. Now, if I double click on that, we again get a native Jira window and can change something here in the metadata. Or right. Another cool thing is you can go here and create child issues or subtasks. So, for example, if we are refining a particular epic or a particular story, you can say, okay, I want to create some sort of sub tickets, or in this case, yeah, these are subtasks. And I bring them on board. You see these little icons here, and these icons indicate the relationship between, well, let's remove this one. The icons indicate the relationship. So this is a subtask of TP4. So, you know, at the same time, we are looking at this board. Another cool thing we can do, we have 2 tickets. I'm just showing you the building blocks, but in a moment, I'm going to show you in what context users can use it. So we have 2 unrelated tickets, and I can say, okay, now there is actually a link between these 2. So let's link them and say, okay, this one blocks the other one. And just with the single click, we got a true Jira link, like a relation between the two tasks. And actually, we have gone a step further in that in Jira, not sure if you know, but in Jira, you cannot change an existing relation. You have to remove the relation and then create a brand new relation. But in Whiteboards, you can actually change, for example, the direction, or you can say, okay, this is actually a duplicated tab, you know, relationship. So these are the things. Now, in terms of different use cases, or what these building blocks could be useful for. So one example was what I showed you before, is PI planning. So this is an example of an area on the board where the Wolves team is working on their PI board. Now, in PI planning, there's this concept of program board, and program board is this sort of high level understanding when things are going to be delivered, more of on an epic scale, not as much on a sort of ticket scale. So if an individual team here moves, let's say, change this ticket from, say, to be delivered in sprint 1.4, they say, okay, we actually going to deliver it in sprint 1.3. Check what happens on the big board here. So I'm not touching anything. And this ticket moved. So what we have done here, we have sent this information to Jira, and Jira here sent information back to this component, saying that, you know, the delivery of this particular item is in sprint 1.3. So in a way, so this is showing you that we do have the two-way communication with Jira. Not only do we send information to Jira, but we also receive information from Jira and act upon it. Yeah. So yeah. So that's an example for PI planning. Okay. Another thing will be. Let's go here. Let's say we want to estimate something. So we have we got one of these templates is a magic estimation template, and the way it works is you, or maybe let me start from scratch. So I go select. Oh, I think I've done it before. So Fibonacci, sprint, and let's estimate. Okay. Now, it's enough if I just take a particular ticket and I place it here.
And that's just editing custom fields.
Yeah, so you can think about it as editing any custom field you can think of. I mean, provided this field is properly set up in Jira, and sometimes it's a little bit tricky, but like things like assign to, or estimate, or assign to sprint, or to a release, or I mean, you can have your own custom fields like tags or labels or things like that, and that will work as well. So so check this out. I'm double clicking this, and you will see that this is estimated at 0 story points. If I move it to 1 story point, can you see that? So this is estimated at 1 story point, and I'm going to show you that it's also other way around. So if I open it up in Jira and change this into 2 story points and close, the ticket should move to the second position in a fraction of a second. Well, it escaped. Oh no, it moved sort of here. But yeah, so it's again showing the sort of double two-way duplex communication. Okay, so that was an example of estimation, but we can also do things like assign to. So for example, this ticket here. So we have certain special zones. So here on the left, we have 2 types of zones. We have import zone, and import zone is basically a rectangle where we say, okay, you can paste a JQL string here and say, bring me any issues from Jira that meet these JQL requirements. So you can think about it as a Jira importer according to your specific criteria. So you just go refresh, and we are pulling these tickets from Jira, and then with these tickets you can do anything you want with them. So we are using these import zones, for example, for PA planning to always keep the program backlog up to date. So, and from the program backlog, individual teams would take these tickets and move them to their own individual respective, sort of like sub rooms, so to speak. Okay, so that was an import zone, but we also have something probably even cooler called update zone. So update zone is a similar rectangle that does not pull but pushes to Jira. So we just draw it and say, okay, each time a ticket is placed inside of it, you can assign it to someone, for example, right? So I've created this here, and this ticket here, when I move it, will be assigned to me. But okay, as you can see, it's assigned to me. Yeah? So that's just an example of these building blocks, and like Jira, like I always use this example of Jira being like this hadron collider, like such a complex mechanism, especially for new users. I'm myself a fairly a novice user of Jira, so I do not certainly know how to set certain things in admin or create like custom fields. I mean, it's just too mind-boggling. But the whole list of issues is also very daunting. So when I run Scrum ceremonies or Agile ceremonies, like our weekly meetings or weekly planning or backlog refinement, we do it all on the whiteboard. So instead of looking at 500 outstanding issues, that is not very motivating. We're looking only at a subset of triaged issues that we have created in top of backlog. We bring it on the whiteboard and we say, okay, this is what we need to do. Let's not focus on that big backlog of.
Can we bring the board? Can we bring an entire board?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I was going to say it's up the top there. It's like,
so first of all, the whole board is here, and you will see here, like this is a demo project, so I have only 36 issues, so I could add all 36. But like if you have 500, you can bring 500. So now I'm actually in process of reviewing our backlog, and on one backlog we have like 500 issues So,
well, if we can get more teammates collaborating at the same time, we can go through 500. We can actually do it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Or even like break that word. Maybe like all people working simultaneously on all of them wouldn't be as efficient as dividing that group into, say, 3 subsets.
Oh, like you have before with your teams. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So that's that. Another thing that I wanted to show you was user story mapping. So we are probably, by the time our conversation goes live, we will have a proper user story mapping component ready for customers. So the way it works is like with any user story mapping, you have your epics or your like steps in the journey, and then right below here you have specific tasks. And like with any user story mapping, you can move them to a position. So we do take care of keeping that user story mapping nicely. All the tickets are nicely positioned here. You can drag the epics around, but something that is cool here, that is because we live inside of Jira, you can change individual tickets into these like post-its into Jira tickets. So what we are doing next is we are connecting these swim lanes into and associating these swim lanes with a particular either sprint or a release. So you can run proper user story mapping planning, and then use later on use user story mapping for backlog prioritization. But what's especially cool, as that's what we're hearing from our customers who are requesting this user story mapping, is that in a regular user story mapping tool, and there is 5 of them probably on the marketplace or even more, these tools would only allow you to do user story map, whereas we, by embedding that story map on a whiteboard, will let you do anything you want connected to the story map or even unrelated on the sidelines, on the edge of it. So we can create here, you can put a persona. Here you can embed an iframe with a prototype of the thing you are planning. Here you can do a diagram.
All the mock-ups of the designs and
mock-ups of the designs, yeah.
And then it becomes a live report.
Yeah,
actually tells you where your components are. Yeah,
exactly. So so that's a single sort of source of truth for your product team, and they pretty much don't have to sort of switch between the tools. Everything is on a single whiteboard, and the beauty of it is that it's inside of Jira. So we are super excited about it. We use it on a daily basis. So now we're launching the user story mapping component. The next in line is Kanban. So you'll be able to have a true Trello-like Kanban thing on your whiteboard, also connected with Jira in time. So we're pretty excited about the whole opportunity here.
Yeah, I think it's next level collaboration. If you start thinking about the history of the digital transformation, Atlassian's journey, the rise of Agile, and unfortunately, COVID, how it's changed, our expectations, and what's actually possible. Because we've got to have the team, highly engaged, everyone on the same page, collaborating and helping each other like crazy, and we've got information everywhere, and I think this is next level, to be honest.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. Let me add you one more thing that maybe will sort of expand that vision you have just painted, Michael. That we are not really restricted to Jira elements like issues or epics. We can embed GitHub issues. We can embed, like with time, we don't have that functionality yet, but Azure DevOps items or Trello tickets. And you can think of it like, as I said at the beginning, like an app for apps that on a single whiteboard, you will have elements from other sort of like databases.
Or your data sources. I mean, there's stuff everywhere. Sources. Yeah.
Yeah. So like now Jira becomes, we do not want to get rid of Jira naturally. So everything that needs to be in Jira, so the source of truth is in Jira or in Trello or in Azure DevOps or in GitHub, but different teams, sometimes using different tools, can have all of those sub-elements on the board.
It actually creates some interesting situations. How does it work with licensing? Because I was just trying to think to myself, a lot of the time, you wouldn't be able to iframe, for example, a Salesforce report or something.
Yeah. So we have in terms of iframe, we are aware that certain sites block iframes, and so sometimes, for example, like obviously I can iframe in the YouTube video, no problem. But if I want to iframe something else, sometimes that thing is blocked. I mean, we can't do anything about it. But those GitHub tickets, for example, we would not use an iframe. Like we are not using iframe to display Jira tickets, but we use their API. So we have like an open connection to, for example, GitHub or Jira.
Yeah.
And in terms of licensing, currently Whiteboards is available as any other app on the Atlassian Marketplace. So we are in two flavors. There is Whiteboards for Jira and Whiteboards for Confluence. So you basically purchase it like you would or evaluate with a 1 month trial like you would with any other Jira add-on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess obviously design industries will be able to support you and get it up and running and do a bit of training for you.
That's good to hear. We should get you guys equipped with some free license as well. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, thanks. It's interesting for us because we live in this world, the Atlassian universe. You don't know what you don't know, and we're flat out pushing changes into our environment because we're big believers in continual improvement. And there's so many plugins on the marketplace. It really is a bit like a kid in a candy store. There's so many cool things. You just see another one. It's just like, oh, great, but let's go through the process and make it happen. So thanks very much, Maciej. Is there anything else that you'd like to cover today?
No. I think we have. Let me just double check my sort of notes here. No, I think this is it. Just wanted to encourage everyone. I'll be looking forward to hearing your feedback. So Mike, maybe if you can sort of in your show notes include an email to myself. I'll be very curious of hearing your guys' feedback. We work with customers like on a daily basis. So pretty much every day or every second day, I talk to a customer to listen about their particular problem, pain point, or where they struggle. So if you have any feedback or any idea that we could introduce into the product, please reach out.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much, Maciej.
No worries at all.
So enjoy your day because it's evening.
Your day. It's only 8:45 in the morning.